Okay, hello. My name is Igor. Welcome. Happy to see you here. If I ask you what is the most challenging part about building web apps, there can be many valid answers, like accessibility, or building a reusable components library. But in my opinion, it is dealing with performance issues. So for measuring performance, we use a tool called Lighthouse. It shows us a score from 0 to 100. And as web developers, we want to reach 100. This number shows us that our app loads fast and is in good shape. But getting there is not easy. Performance is not something you should tackle alone, so I'm here to help. I want to invite you today to a dream world called Performland. This is where all apps load instantly, and we always get 100 for our 100 Lighthouse score for our apps. And today I will be your guide. Who am I? I am a front-end engineer. I am a proud dad of 2, of a crazy orange cat, and of a crazy white dog. You can find me around Berlin looking for free food on meetups. And I work at JetBrains, where we create best tools for developers. You can know us for IDEs, and some of them are free for non-commercial use. So if you're looking for something new, check them out. What exactly are we talking about today? Performance is a broad topic, so today we will attack it from the side of web fonts. Why are they important? So if you look at the websites, you'll find that mostly the most popular content on the web is text, and it's important to render this text as fast as possible. So web fonts are responsible for making branding for your website and design, consistent design. They're used on 87% of all websites, and if your website is one of them, then you should be interested in showing your user text as fast as possible. And in terms of performance, they affect 2 core Web Vitals metrics. The first one is called largest contentful paint. It shows us the largest element on the screen that is loaded on the first load. So it shows us the time it takes to render the biggest element on the screen when the page loads. So we can debug it with DevTools, and you can see that in most cases it will be the text element. The second metric is called cumulative layout shift. This one is very irritating, in my opinion. It's when you see that something moves unexpectedly when page is loading. Now, how do we get to Performland? We have a plan in front of us. We will start from the basics, where we will connect our fonts. We will choose a font. Then we will continue with more advanced techniques. And lastly, we will take a look how frameworks can automate some tasks for us. Let's start with the easy level. And on this level, we are unexperienced developers. We don't know anything about fonts. We just want to show at least some fancy font to add some fancy font for our page. And we have 4 quests on this level. Let's start with choosing a font. So the first thing that you should do is ask yourself, do I even need a fancy custom font? There are pre-built fonts that are already in the user's operating system. So you can see that every operating system has its own default font. And if you choose to use one of these fonts, you don't need to load anything and care about performance. So your users don't need to load anything. But the problem here is that your designer might not be happy with this because your app will look different on each operating system, or it can look too generic, no feeling. Next, the next thing that you should do is count variants of fonts on your design. So there can be different variants. For example, there can be a regular font and bold font. And for each of font weights, you need to load a file. And we have a different alternative solution to load a variable font. With variable font, all those font weights will be inside one file. And very often it will be less size than several static fonts. So for example, if we have JetBrains Sans font, we can choose to use variable fonts instead of 2 static fonts. And we are done with the first quest. Congratulations. Let's move to the next one. This one is about choosing the most appropriate font format. Here I can only quote Web Almanac 2022. Use only WAV2 and forget about everything else. Why is that? Because WAV2 is the most modern advanced format with a good compression algorithm. All browsers basically support it, and you can easily convert it from other formats. This one was easy. Let's go to the next one. In this quest, we will write a font definition and actually apply it to our page. So we will define a font with font face and apply it with font family to some selector. Here, in terms of performance, we are interested in this property, font display. It shows us how we want to render text to the user while our custom font is loading. So you can choose to show invisible text while your font is loading, or you want to show, as an alternative, a fallback text with a system font, and then when custom font is loaded, then we can substitute it. And in terms of performance, it's better to use swap property. Let's take a look at the example. If you use font display block for displaying invisible text first, then this is what you see. You will not see any text while font is loading, and then bam, you see the text. And with the swap property, you will see fallback font, for example, Arial, and then when font is loaded, you will see a custom font. In my opinion, it's better to show at least something to the user with fallback font, and then continue with our customer font. And we have our last quest on this level. With this, we want to prioritize font loading. For this, we will use this HTML tag, link-rel preload. And this will move the order of loading resources. This will move the font in the order of loading resources to the high level. Here, I want to warn you before you start doing this. There are some things that you may do to improve the order of loading. Like if you use a vendor like Google, then try to self-host it. Or inline font face declarations in your HTML, because in this way, your browser won't need to load CSS before understanding what fonts you need. Or maybe try pre-connecting first. So let's see at the example. Before we applied preloading, our font is not the highest, doesn't have high priority in loading assets. And browsers are quite intelligent, so they know that maybe your users don't need your fancy custom font right away. With the preloading, we can see that our font loads right after HTML is loaded. So be careful, be mindful, use it cautiously. Maybe you have some heading with a custom font that you need to show right away. Here, it is a good opportunity to preload. But don't preload all the possible fonts that you see on your page. So let's take a look at what changed visually. Without preloading, we see black screen, fallback, and web font. And when we preload, if you have fast internet, probably you'll just see the text with custom font rendered right away. And this is all the quest for the easy level. Achievement unlocked. Congratulations. Let's reiterate the solutions here. So choose between system font or custom font. Think about using variable font. Always choose WOF2. Forget about everything else. Think about font display swap. And maybe preload. Next, let's take a look at hard level. Be prepared. Here we have some more sophisticated techniques about optimizing fonts. We will start with reducing the file size. Let's take a look at this example. This is a cookie banner on JetBrains.com. You can see this beautiful old school DOS window, and has this vibe also because we use a mono-spaced font here. So this is the same font, JetBrains Mono, that we use in our IDEs. And it looks beautiful, but the problem is that our IDEs need to render different symbols that may not appear on this web page, like never. So let's take a look at what's inside this font. We can do this with this tool called Wakamai Fondue. Fancy name. And inside we see that it has more than 1,000 characters and more than it can support more than 48 languages. and also some specific characters that we may not need. So what we can do is get rid of all the things that we don't need. For this, we will use a technique called subsetting. We will remove all unused characters from a font with a tool called glyph hanger. We say that we only need a subset of characters for Latin language. And let's see what we have. This is what we have initially. And after we apply this, we have this. So it's much smaller. And you can apply it with applying it will give you more performance. We can go further and generate a CSS for this font. It will give you a font face definition with a Unicode range. This property Unicode range says that this font can be used only for Latin subset. So what you can do is generate different fonts for different locales. Maybe you want to use this one for Latin languages and generate different font for Chinese, Korean, Japanese, and so on, Cyrillic, and generate font faces for each of them. Let's move to the next quest. This one is about preventing layout shift, the thing that irritates most. Let's go back to our example where we connected our font. And this is how it looks initially. So we have a fallback font, and when custom web font is applied, you see that there is a layout shift. The block at the bottom moves. What we can do is use modern CSS. We have different properties that are not yet supported by all the browsers, but we can use them as progressive enhancement. For this, we will use a tool called screenspan to make sure that the text box of our custom web font and initial fallback font are the same. So you can play with different values, and it will generate the font face that you see to the left bottom. And let's see what happens when we apply it. First, we have this. This is a fallback font. We add this and add adjusted fallback font for font family. And when we see that our custom font is loaded, we have this. See, this is much better. It doesn't move that much. And finally, the last thing is making friends with your backend developer. Web fonts are assets. They change rarely, so it makes sense to cache them for as long time as possible. So by adding this HTTP header, you can cache fonts for 1 year. The last one was pretty easy, apart from making friends with backend developer. So we are done with hard level. Let's reiterate the techniques here. Use subsetting to reduce the font file size. Use modern CSS to prevent layout shift. And cache fonts for as long time as possible. Wow, this was a long journey, and we have side quests in front of us. This is where we face frameworks. And for frameworks, I have good news for you. They are just, they produce the same web pages as usual. So the techniques here will be the same, but we can use them to automate some things. The first thing is loading different properties of font from provider. So in this example, you will see that we use Unifont library. We choose a custom font called Poppins. Okay, this is a fancy name. And we use the library to get all the information from Google. This is what we get. And this information can be used for different purposes. So maybe you want to self-host a font and apply the same configuration that Google gives you, or maybe you want to create a plugin. So this is a low-level library for maybe plugin creators. Next, we want to get lazy. We don't want to bring text boxes of fallback font and custom font visually. We want to do this automatically. For this, we can use a library called Frontend. You can use it for different builders, bundlers, I mean Vite, Webpack, and also frameworks like Next.js and Astro. You just define a configuration, and this is what you have initially in your source code, just a font face and a selector with your font, with your custom font. When the library runs, this is what you have in the output. So it generated fallback font face for fallback font automatically, and it added the name of the fallback font to the selector. Nice. So we automated this. What if we want to get like really lazy? Like we don't want to do anything. For this, we have a library called Fontless, plugin for Vite. You just apply it like this, easy. And this is the only thing that you need in your source code. So you just say that you have a custom font, and what it generates is this. So it generated font face for your custom font, it generated font face for fallback, and it added all the things necessary to font family property. The creator, the main maintainer of all those libraries is Daniel Rowe. He's also maintainer of Nuxt. I really like this guy, and I met him at New York this week. I'm happy to see him there. Finally, we have next font plugin. It is already built into the framework. You can use it to do almost the same optimizations for Next.js. So it does loading from vendor side and self-hosting your font, and also you can use it with a class name, or you can choose to do variable. With the variable, you can use it in Tailwind CSS. So you just write that you have this variable and apply it. And with that, we have completed our side quests. Congratulations. Let's reiterate again. If you want to do low level, go with Unifont library. If you want to do lazy stuff, check out Fontaine. If you want to get really lazy, go with fontless. And for Next.js, check out their Next Font plugin. And here we are standing in front of Performland, and we ask ourselves, did we get here? Well, I have good news and bad news. The bad news is that you can never really reach Performland and get that 100 that you always wanted. In the real life, you have to work for it. You have to optimize not only fonts, but other things. But we can learn and improve. And in the end, we will probably make sure that our apps load as fast as possible, even though we don't have that 100. Let's take a look at our roadmap again. So with the easy level, it is possible to apply those techniques if you have a low Lighthouse score. With the hard level techniques, you can apply those when you have average Lighthouse score. And with side quests, with the framework plugins, you can automate a lot of things. You can see all the possible solutions on the screen. And with that, thank you for listening.